Hello. I am bored, and I want to see if I can get my editing to work again. If this is successful, XCOM Episode 3 will release. I will not be releasing XCOM Episode 2 because upon editing the video and trying to get it to upload 600,000 different times, it has decided not to work. So, I've just come to the conclusion that the size of the video was too large. I will explain the majority of what happened in that episode when I go to record episode 3, but for now, I am bored, and I would like to tell you about my guys' favorite game, Squad. Squad is a military shooter, kind of a military sim like Arma, but a little more casual. Basically, think of it as a mix between Arma and Battlefield, like a direct mix in between. It's got the clunkiness, well, it doesn't have the clunkiness of Arma, but it's not as casual as Battlefield. And one of its main game modes is, well, I won't go into that right now, but let's just go into a little bit of the basics. We got movement, which is pretty simple. WASD, control the crouch, just toggle. You've got an ADS. The fuck? Huh, they entered trees into the tutorial area. That's new. That's cool, I guess. They entered a lot of trees. But, you can crouch. You can also go prone by pressing Z. Toggle it. Move pretty fucking slow. And then you can also lean by pressing Q or E and Q. Reloading is R, obviously. And then let's go into the... oh, and also there's a hotbar that you have filled with your equipment and whatnot that you have. Equipment that each soldier has is based on class, which you pick from the spawn menu depending on who's in the game. And now we will go into shooting. Alright, sorry, I was just testing a few things with my recorder. And now we will go into combat in the urban target training area. Here you see we have resupply points here. These can be built in FOBs or forward operating bases. I'll get to more on that in a moment. Here we will go with generic combat. You got targets and whatnot, which can be, shot at and taken down. It's pretty simple, point and shoot, except bullet drop in this game is a thing. However, it's realistic and it doesn't, occur at 5 feet away from you. So you don't really have to account for it too much unless you're a sniper. You see I'm zooming in right here. You don't really have to do that. Well, you can, and it's toggleable if you hold shift, and you can only do it when you're standing still. Because if you don't, or if you hold shift and you're moving, it makes you sprint, which uses the stamina bar you can see in the bottom right of my screen, which regenerates when you're walking, doesn't move when you crouch, and actually goes down when you go prone. And then you have this. So say you get low on ammo or whatever and you just want to reload. The little colors, or the squares at the bottom of my screen, are the amount of magazines I have. Reload. Animations are generally pretty not awkward, but they're slow because, realism kind of takes a minute for you to try and grab a magazine. And then I have other weapons like frag grenades. Say I don't want to, breach that room by myself, I can just throw a grenade in there and fuck everyone up. Hold left click to throw far, and hold right click to roll it in front of you. Shit. There's that. Visual and effects in this game are pretty neat. Oh, right. Also, press middle click to change your fire mode. There are sidearms in this game, but my class does not have one. I am just a generic recruit rifleman because I am a sad human being. Go over here. Bam. Bam. Go over here. And boom. Well, for some reason the timer's still going and it reset. But you know what? Who fucking cares? In this game, we also have not only frag grenades, but each class generally has some form of smoke grenade as well, and field dressings for when you get shot. In this game, damage is time to kill in this game is generally really fast, like almost always 1 or 2 shots. So be aware of that. But take the chance that you are only hit by a stray bullet, you will most likely be bleeding. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold this thing. I would show you if I was damaged, but I'm not. Hold right click and you will bandage yourself and stop the bleeding. You'll still need to go to like a medic or something to heal you, because it won't heal you, but you'll stop bleeding and you won't eventually die from blood loss. Then you have this thing, which is used for forward operating bases. So, say if I go back over here, because right here, this is for like the Russians. Here, let's read some of this. HABs are an important FOB deployable that allows spawning for your entire team. Well, here, let's read this. Squad leader placed FOB radios enable the construction of FOBs and must be protected. These are basically points, because in maps, you can, the only allowed spawn point that is created by the game is main spawn points. And, or like in some game modes, like in Insurgency, when you're playing as Insurgents, you'll have like a few hideout spawn points. But anyways, all other spawns are created by squad leaders in squads, which are either rally points, which they need like 1 dude with them to spawn, which will create these, and they'll be able to spawn like 12 times on them before they go away. And or if they build FOBs, which are radios that need to be built up and whatnot. Well, no, the radio comes free, but they generate points and whatnot, which are used for building things around them in a 400-meter radius. And with that, once they reach like 500 points in building, they can use them to create HABs. I forgot what HAB stood for, but they're basically spawn beacons where people spawn in their FOBs. Like they click on where the radio is on the map, but they'll actually spawn where the HAB is. So like you could have like the radio like over there, but build the HAB here, and they would spawn here. So that's pretty neat. And they can also build other things like ammo, resupply points, or defenses. This here is a generic shooting range, obviously, if you couldn't tell. But you could also build defenses like machine guns. If you're playing as like Russians or insurgent forces, you will generally get a Dishka machine gun for your turrets. You can enter vehicles and turrets by pressing F. And there's like shielded versions and whatnot. But if you're not a sad human being and you're playing on the US Army teams, you'll get the Browning. For some reason when I enter this turret, it always moves on this. It starts on this side and you have to adjust it. It's weird, but it's pretty neat. And then the reload animations for this are pretty slow, but realism. Knock off the belt, get a new box, load in the new belt, and good to go. And then they also recently, in a new update, added in things like mortars. Oh, and also if you're playing as sad insurgents, you get these things, or exclusively as insurgents, you get these like mounted rocket things, which can be used to take out armor, like say that ruin over there of an armor piece. If that were actual armor, it would have exploded. You're probably wondering how I zoomed in. Press shift. Some vehicles or whatnot, when you're in turret emplacements, it'll be Q, but whatever. And recently they added in mortars, which are kind of complicated, but not really. You adjust them. Yes, that's my character's head right there that you're seeing rotating and whatnot. It's very weird. Then you press right click to adjust and whatnot and look at things. So, take for example, I have some people who want me to shoot. Like, say for example, I don't have a marker. I need to, these things are very hard to use without like referencing and whatnot, so I'm going to go into the console, tilde, and suicide. What? The fuck? Okay, I'm just going to try and use this anyway. Gotta rotate this over here. So, say for example, there's something in front of me I want to shoot, like these targets, for example. The thing that's 150 meters away from me, that BTR. I look at my milliradian with the range and whatnot, and I look at the 150 meter mark. I have to scroll the fuck up until I hit 1558. This is going to take a moment until you eventually hit it, and then you can fire. And in about 20 seconds, those rounds are going to come down. Wait for it. A little short. But that would generally scare the ever-living shit out of someone if they were very close. Like, take for example what I'm about to do right now, because I can. And now we run. Come on. Still a little offset. Probably because they don't want them to land directly on top of the user. But there's that. In this game, there are also vehicles which will spawn at the faction's main base. Now, there are 4 playable factions in the game as of now. The US Army, the Russian Army, insurgent forces, and some sort of like European militia sort of thing. Kind of like insurgents, but European. And the insurgent factions get obviously the lower tech vehicles, these very sad things, like these technicals. Basically just trucks with 50 cals, rockets, or the first piece of artillery to actually be in the game, the artillery truck, which is generally kind of shit, but useful for scaring the crap out of people. And then this sad thing, which is from World War II, which I honestly I cannot remember. I think it's BMP or something. It's got like kind of like a spotter sort of seat right here for seat 3. And then you maneuver seats in vehicles by pressing the F keys, and then it has an actual gun. Pretty neat. And then you have the United States Army vehicles, which are all neatly lined up in this beautiful thing right here. You have a Humvee, which is, amazing. Press F to start. Oh wait, no. Press F to get into vehicles and press E to start their engines. Probably don't hear that very much, but the engine just kicked on. Press F2 or the F keys to maneuver through all the seats. F2 is this vehicle's gunner seat. Let's just shoot at that thing because it's gay. Oh, sorry, I might have offended someone. Whoops. So, got that. Then you have the version of the Humvee, which has a automated gun. It is the Crow variation, or the Crows. F2 is just a passenger seat. F3 is the third seat in the back with an automated gun. Not real much fun there, but it's obviously a lot more useful. And then you have this wonderful thing, the MRAP, which is generally used for, it's a much more armored version of the Humvee basically, and it's used for protection from IEDs and whatnot. Oh, yeah, IEDs are in this game. I didn't know they added in a speed dial for how fast you're going. That's cool. This version of the vehicle has a Crow gun. There's manual guns, but they just didn't want to include that. We have a supply truck, which can be used for transporting, or another mechanic of FOBs in this game is they slowly generate points on their own, but they can be assisted if a supply truck which spawn at the main base, is grabbed and then taken over to a FOB, and if you press Q with supplies in the back of them, they will offload tons of points. And you could do supply runs with these things, constantly going back to the main base to get more supplies, and then going back, offloading them, etc., to get the fob crap loads of points. That's pretty much their only use. Varying troops in that. Then you have this wonderful striker infantry fighting vehicle. Or armored amphibious vehicle. You know what? You choose whatever the fuck you want to choose. I don't think this thing is actually amphibious. Whatever. It's a very big vehicle with it's basically, well, it's an APC with only right now a 50 cal gun on top. It is the most armored vehicle in the game, better than those scrawny BTRs, and however, it also costs the most ticket points. That I'll explain in a moment when it comes to game modes. And it's pretty neat. I would show you the other seats in the vehicle, but they're all pretty much the same, just looking out through window slits, which aren't in the vehicle, actually, so it's kind of breaking every law of existence. Oh, also at FOBs, there are vehicle repair depots. And, wait, what? They're different now? Repair depots, resupply. Oh, never mind. There's just different colors for different factions. They resupply health for these things just in case they get hit, and they resupply ammo. Then we have these sad Russian vehicles, which are, you know, sad. You have got two different variations of a transport vehicle. Why they have two, I'll never know. You have the kind of okay BTR, pretty neat, with the 45mm gun, or not millimeter, but it's a weaker round than the 50 cal, but in turn it shoots faster. Window slits so the crew can look out. Then you have another version of the BTR with a, pretty sure is actually a 45mm gun. Again, I couldn't tell you for sure, but its rounds are explosive. Fuck you. It's pretty neat. Also, tracers in this game are realistic. Only once every few shots will tracers be apparent for weapons. Certain rifles just overall don't have tracers. And then you have these tracked vehicles, which I could not name. But I believe only the insurgents have them. Oh, wait, no. They have both these versions. The Russians have both these versions of the vehicle, which one is a Dishka, and the other has that gun. And then the insurgents get this sad variation of the vehicle with an even smaller gun. At least you get a 50 cal on this thing. I suddenly don't believe this is 50 caliber. You know what, whatever. Then the insurgents get this sad thing. It's sad. You see, if you listen to the whimpering of the gun enough, slight background, you can actually hear it wanting to die. So, yeah, that's pretty much all there's in the game right now. Well, right, the game mode. The main game mode of this game is Advance and Secure, or AAS. It's basically like Conquest, except it's in a point, or it's like in straight lines. Take, for example, this is point A, and this is point B. Or no, this is point like C, and this is point D. The US spawn over here and can cap point A, and the Russians spawn here can cap point E. But when they cap point E, they have to go and cap point D. They can't try and flank around and cap point, what was this, C. And, yeah, I probably lost track of my alphabet, but, you know, that's basically, that's the point of the game mode. You don't lose track of your alphabet. You capture in chains, basically. You can only go in one direction. You can't back cap and whatnot, and cap other points before you cap other points. Like, you have to capture in a straight line. If that made any sense to you, good job, because that's the game mode. And In this game mode, when you capture more points than the enemy team, you drain their tickets, kind of like Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. Actually, no, in Battlefield 4 you drain tickets, in Battlefield 1 you gain. When teams also lose tickets from casualties and losing vehicles. Different vehicles have different ticket counts. Like, take for example the insurgent vehicles, albeit they're shit, they have low ticket counts. So if they were to be blown up by an anti-tank dude with like a rocket launcher, it'll only cost the team like factions like have like when they spawn or when the game starts like I think 500 or 400 tickets, something around those lines. When an insurgent blows up, they'll lose like or like a technical blows up, they'll lose like 20 tickets. Whereas with the US, oh that spawned weird. Uh, if like say they were driving around a striker and they hit an IED and the whole damn thing blows up, they'll probably lose like I want to say like 60 tickets or something around those lines. Very big. And the numbers are most likely inaccurate, and I'm not correct in any way, shape, or form. But that's that, and that's the game mode. This game generally provides very tactical and like decisive gameplay, and overall I find it very fun, and I think you people should play it. Now, um, upload wise, I hope this was kind of worth the wait. I'm not Gabe Newell, but I should see what I could do about XCOM Episode 3 here pretty soon, and now that I know what I'm capable of, goodbye.